Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of PYA Crew Spotlight. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm really pleased to welcome Coral Marsili. She is an engineer from Brazil. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Well, no, it's great to have you. And I have to say, this is the first time that I have ever had the pleasure of interviewing a female engineer. So let's get right to it. Tell me where you're from and how you got into yachting.
Well, I'm from Brazil. That's what I grew up. I always grew up by the water, the beach, and surfing and everything. It was lovely. And I joined the Navy when I graduated high school. So I was in the Brazilian Navy for 3 years. And that's how I got my certification to become a merchant Navy engineer. And I worked in Brazil for a year and a half with the smaller boats supplying oil rigs, because that's quite big in Brazil. And then I decided to try something a little different. I've heard here and there about the yacht industry, but at that time, I had no idea what it entails or what I needed to do to go through it. So I started applying for through agencies and applying for jobs and all that. And one day I decided to visit an agency in person. That would have been Thursday. They put me through a job. I got an interview on the Friday, and on the Monday, I was joining my first yacht. It was
Wow.
very quick, very quick.
How many other female engineers have you come across in your time?
In yachting, I've never crossed any female engineer. Back at home, it is a lot more normal because the oil industry is so huge. So we do have a big demand for engineers in general. So there is a bigger interest in that. But yachting, I still haven't met any.
Wow. So for you, what was the draw to become an engineer in Brazil? What was the draw there?
Well, I've always liked helping my dad fix things and build things, and he always inventing little things, and he always wanted to have a son, and he had two daughters. So I joke with him that I'm the son he never had.
Nice. And when you got into yachting, why would you choose yachting over any other form of marine or being an engineer on land? What was it about yachting that really drew you?
Right. Well, I absolutely love traveling. I love meeting new people and learning new cultures. It's such a huge world that we have very little knowledge of. And that was the biggest draw for me. I've always loved engineering, but yachting allows you to meet people from literally all over the world and visit all over the world. So that was huge for me.
And for you, what would you say was the has been the biggest influence with yachting and for you to carry on in your career? What is the thing that excites you the most?
Well, I do I do see myself trying to reach the top as an engineer to go for a chief engineer. And I think that can be quite inspiring for other women to see a female engineer growing in such a prestige industry. Yachting is not just it's a bit different when you work in the oil industry. It's a bit gritty. It doesn't have the wow factor of working in the yacht and being a chief engineer in a huge 100-meter plus boat. I think that would be the biggest accomplishment.
Is there any tips or tricks that you would say to anybody that is not only looking to getting into yachting or perhaps that is looking to take the route that you've taken into engineering? Is there any tips or tricks that you can give to those that are looking at it?
Well, I would definitely, especially for female engineers, I would suggest to start on a bigger boat. It's very interesting because we have such a big engineering team where you can feed from the motorman, the electrician, the AVIT, and you can learn all these different skills that you probably wouldn't as much on a smaller boat. Besides, on a bigger boat, would be a lot easier to get a dog because of male only due to cabin arrangements. So on bigger boats, you'd have your own cabin, which then it would be easier for someone to hire you as a female engineer. I would suggest though to do keep an open mind. some people might not be used at all to have female engineers, and they might have the vision where the female is this the fragile sex, which is not the case at all. We can do the exact same job as they do, sometimes even better. But yeah, absolutely. I would definitely suggest someone to try yachting. It's quite fulfilling, and it would expose you to different experiences that you probably wouldn't be able to in any other industry.
Well, Coral, I do thank you for your time. And you know what? I would encourage, if there is any other female engineers out there, please do get in touch, because as I said, this is my first interview with a female engineer, and you have never met another one in the yachting industry. So it'd be great to sort of connect you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It would be lovely to have someone in the same department to just have a chat and change experiences. And yeah, it would be really, really nice.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to talk to somebody who's on the same sort of wavelength at times, I can imagine.
Yes, that they understand what you're going through, and they understand how demanding the job can be. You know, I mean, you will always be able to talk within different departments, but when it's another engineer, they can actually understand what you're going through. So yeah, that would be great.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to make sure to provide your LinkedIn information underneath this interview when it airs, just to make sure that those that are interested in chatting with you and those that are interested in getting a little bit of information on how to get into a career such as yours, they can reach out to you as well.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time, Coral. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Once again, you've been watching another edition of the PYA Crew Spotlight. My name is Ria. I have been your host. We'll see you again next week.